welcome back to Tarot Tats and Tea, and welcome to 2023. That year, 2022, flew, didn't it? You know, it felt like 2021. We were no sooner into 22 and we're now in 23. Time just seems to fly, and I think that's got to do with age as well. I thought I'd come on and just share some of my little Christmas goodies and what I'm going to be doing with you. And I have to say, I've had a very relaxed Christmas and relaxed New Year. I've enjoyed the time with family, and it's been beautiful. It's been really beautiful, peaceful, quiet. Obviously, the little tweaks you'd like to do here and there and get more people together, but sure, you know, people do what we can do. And it was lovely. It was lovely. I got to see both my sister and brother and their families Christmas Day at my mum's, and we came home, and then just myself, hubby on New Year's Eve, and our son joined us for a little bit too, which was lovely. So, what did Father Christmas get me? I've been very lucky actually, and this year I think I made it very difficult for people because I sort of wasn't giving hints and tips, because, you know, I look around myself and think, well, I've got what I need. So one thing was reforesting our forests. So you basically purchase a certificate, and that certificate states on it what trees are going to be reforested where in your county, and you have a choice of oak trees, pine trees, and the beautiful I've just struck a blank, hawthorn tree. The beautiful hawthorn tree. So hawthorn trees are what are being planted, 10 of them. I was very lucky to receive, I've seen this statue for so long, and I have really sort of willed it into my life. Now there's a large one, the large one would be far too big for my room and my altar, it would just take over everything. So my husband found me this one, Mother Earth. Isn't she just beautiful? Look at the detail on her. Look at, even down to the little butterflies in her hair here. You know, the flowers and the leaves. She's just the earth. All the patterns. You know, it's just absolutely stunning. So this was bought for me in Fragrant Heaven in Gorey from my husband. My husband went out and bought me this. It's just a beautiful, beautiful statue of Mother Earth, who sits here on my altar. Along with those, I was very lucky to receive a lovely rhodonite pillar and rainbow moonstone. So these sit alongside her on my altar. My daughter got me a lovely tarot box that's going to hold a deck. I haven't chosen which deck yet, but this is the beautiful box. She certainly knows what colours I like. And inside that, I think it's green jasper, I'm not quite sure, I'll have to look the stone up. Inside this lovely little crocheted pouch. So that will stay with whatever deck goes into that box. I was very lucky to get a food mixer from my other son. I was delighted with it because I've taken to baking and I love making bread, and that's going to make things a lot easier for me because I do have slight arthritis in my hands, so that's wonderful. My youngest son purchased the Paolo Barbieri unicorns. Now this is an oracle deck, and it's not something I would have chosen for myself. My son was drawn to it, and I'll get that from Mum. I'm glad he was. It is a nice deck. It's a deck to meditate over. The only change I'm going to make to this deck is to just, I might do a little floral design over it says not a deer, because straight away I feel the creator has put a slight negative slant on the cards. All the cards are related to unicorns. So if we look at this deer, or this unicorn, in the shape of a deer with antlers and a unicorn horn, it says not a deer harmony. Well, the fact that it tells us it's a unicorn deck tells us this is not a deer, but carries the traits of a deer. The gentleness, or sometimes the ferocity of those horns if needed, if pushed the wrong way. The backs are lovely. Now, I was going to trim them, but if I trim them, it's going to affect the backs. So therefore, I'm going to get a black permanent marker and just do sort of a floral design over the not a, because that appears in every card. And it's like saying, this is a unicorn deck. It's got the owl properties, but it's not an owl. We know that. We're not daft. So we've got here, not a wave. You can see the unicorn in the wave. We know it's not a wave. Intensity, and the intensity and the power of the water. And that's what I like about this deck, and the actual words. What I'm not over keen on is the not a in front of it. It's like very condescending in a way, and puts that negative spin on it. It's just that that does irk me. Now we've got here the unicorn omen, and this unicorn, there's the unicorn horn that also looks like a raven's beak. Then we've got not a raven. We know it's not a raven, it's a unicorn with the traits of the raven, and the raven often appears when omens are to reveal themselves. Okay. Journey. I'm not even going to say, oh, well, not a boat. No shit, Sherlock. So I do like this deck. I like the images. I like the words. I don't like the negative sort of not a whatever in front, as I have repeatedly said. So this is daring. It's the unicorn with the mermaid's traits. Desire, unicorn with a demon's traits. Roots, isn't that beautiful? A very grounded unicorn who's very earthly in his characteristics. Divinity. Strangeness. We all have a little bit of strangeness about us, and that's how the deck goes on. It really is a lovely, the images are beautiful. Like I say, it's just that one change that I'm going to make, and that's to remove that not a in front of it. I just find it a little bit A, condescending, and B, negative. I wouldn't know why a creator would put a negative slant on their own deck. This is going to stay on my desk because I am going to be using it for positive affirmations. Now, I was also given this from my youngest son. Isn't that beautiful? An amethyst tree. There's a nice piece at the bottom. And here we go. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, I have one of these that was bought for me many, many years ago. Oh gosh. Probably around 1980. 2000, 2010, 2020. Oh my gosh. 43 years ago. And the little stones are dropping off because the glue has dried, because it's kept in on the windowsill of my bedroom. But look, this is the brightness of the stone, and the stones also drilled through and hooked in onto each branch, and that is beautiful. That's here on my desk. Something else I was really lucky to receive from my daughter was my pendulum board. Now yes, I do have a pendulum board. I have a much smaller one. It's more detailed, but this is much clearer. It's larger, the writing is clear, and it sticks to yes, no, maybe. And the question mark is, do you need to ask another question, or try again, reword your question? So, and isn't it amazing? We've got the tree theme here. So there's the theme of replanting, trees replanting with this and this. So I think 2023 is going to be a lot more outdoor stuff for me, and communing with nature a lot more, which will be great fun because I really got stuck into my foraging and stuff, so that's going to be great. You know what I'm like, my selenite. I have a couple of selenite balls there, and selenite on my altar. My son gave me this piece of selenite, and it's got the chakra symbols on it. And this one stays on my desk. Now, you know how I have my pendulum charging on that wooden block that I had that I created when we were doing the ancestral tarot. Well, I've taken the pendulum off there and I'm putting it on the selenite and charging it there with all the good energy there of the chakras and also the selenite itself, cleansing all the stones in the pendulum. I've got a whole selection of Yankee candles. This one is Snow Globe Wonderland, and it's so gentle and fresh. It's lovely. Now, if you look on the door here, you'll see an apron, okay, the floral apron. That was handmade by my neighbour's mum for me. So I'm going to be donning that in a minute when I get on with the crafting project, which I'll also share with you. Books that I received over Christmas were Patricia Cornwell's Scarpetta novel Livid. You know what I'm like with my thrillers and crime stories. John Gresham's The Boys from Biloxi. And a new Jack Reacher novel by Lee Child, No Plan B. So these are all on my reading pile, which is growing rather rapidly. You can hear Sam and Sal barking downstairs. Oh, if you recall, when we were looking at a tarot deck, it was the Mr. Freeborg's tarot. I said to you that I was hoping Father Christmas would bring me something that I had seen. He did. Isn't that a magnificent magnifying glass? So this, I'm sure, will help us to see what has been written on the inside of the little white book that comes with this deck, or little grey book, I should say. Here we are. Pop that card in. Now, let's have a look. So, right on the cover, The New Classic Tarocchi by Mr. Freeborg. The New Classic Tarocchi. Now, let's have a look. In this little book we have, oh wow, this is great. It tells you about the Tarocchi, a note to the dear reader. Dear aspiring reader, high and low polarity, pulls and spreads, 1 card pull, 2 card pull, 3 card spread. Meaning of the major arcana, meaning of the minor arcana. Then we have coins, cups, swords, staves, and oracle card meanings, because there are oracle cards that you can get to go with this deck. I think it's like an extension pack. I don't actually have that myself. So let's have a look. It's a very brief, for seasoned readers, it's a very brief sort of hello. Right, let's have a look. This little white booklet is intended for the very beginners who are venturing into reading tarot for the first time, or those at the very beginning of this amazing journey. For you, dear experienced reader, I have nothing but gratitude for having chosen to acquire this little deck of mine, and I am proud that it now makes part of your collection and possibly your reading repertoire. I hope you enjoy it dearly. I actually think we will. It's a rather nice deck. Oh gosh, I mustn't hold that too close. You can see all my lines on my neck. So that's what I've popped on just to share with you. So everything's just fitting nicely into my everyday life. My candles are so useful of my sister. I had a lovely food hamper off my brother full of cheeses and crackers and a bottle of wine, and oh, absolutely lovely. We had that last night as a family. We just sat around and, you know, one of those pick meals. It was really, really nice. I'm just going to put these books over there and then I'm coming straight back to you. Right, I said to you I have a little craft project going on. Well, I've just torn out some papers. I don't need them to be neat because I'm just going to cover these in Mod Podge and then cut out shapes. And you'll see why later on. But this is my project. I have a lamp downstairs and I want to change the colour of my sitting room. I've had this lamp for nigh on 20 years and I think it needs a change of a lamp cover. So I'm not going to actually change this. I am actually going to upcycle it. It does have a stain on it here. I'm not sure how that got on. It was probably over the 20 years when the kids were probably having mortar fights or something, and it was hidden from me at the time. So I'm going to change the colour of this. I'm going to add some some decoration to it, and I'm looking forward to sharing the end result with you when I'm done. I'll take photos along the way to show you step by step what I've done. And then our next video that will follow this shortly will be the next one in our ancestral grimoire. So folks, I hope the new year has started off well for you. For us, it started off very well. I know for some friends of mine it hasn't. There's been a number of deaths over the Christmas and New Year, which is very sad to hear. So for all of you who find yourselves in those sort of situations, I send out best wishes and strength and as much positivity as I can. Thank you all for joining me here today, sending out wishes, good wishes to everybody. Whatever you're doing today, I hope it's something positive, something that's getting you up in the mornings and making you feel good. Take care. Bye now.